Hey, welcome to Your Anime Senpais. I'm Richard.
And I'm John.
And today we're doing Goblin Slayer episode 3 and...
Sword Art Online, Alicization episode 2.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so John, before we begin with Sword Art, I just want to say spoilers ahead. But for those making comments below, keep the spoilers just to the anime. So... Alright, John, so last time on Sword Art Online, Kirito got stabbed, didn't he? Like, did he survive? Is he good? Like, what's going on with that?
Well, I don't know if we really know. I mean, they didn't really tell what happened to his physical body, but just kind of like how I called it, he wakes up at the start of this episode fully in the Soul Translated game, basically. I don't know really what the world's name is right off. He wakes up there and doesn't have too much memory right off the bat, like what happened. He don't remember potentially how he got there, but he remembers the things leading up to him getting stabbed, and he's like, whoa, what? And so he kind of goes, he meets his one companion from the previous episode, Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course Yu-Gi-Oh! Has no memories of him, so that kind of makes the story even more like, well, what's going on? No one has memories of... Kirito don't remember where he's at. He's never seen this world with his actual memories, so he don't... Right. Nothing seems familiar, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has no clue who he is. And the story of Alice that all three of them shared in the first episode, basically Yu-Gi-Oh!'s memories are basically of just him and Alice. So it's just like Kirito never existed. And as they're introducing each other once again to each other, Yu-Gi-Oh's like, so where do you come from? And he's like, oh, I just came from over there in the forest. And Yu-Gi-Oh's like... Over there in the forest, eh?
Just randomly from the forest.
Yeah, so you're not from this city down the road? He's like, no, I just over there. He's like, oh, well, you must be a lost child of Vecta. And he's like, what's that? And he's like, well, that's this god Vecta basically takes people and pulls them up from wherever they're at and wipes their memories and just dumps them into a forest normally or somewhere far off.
Of course.
That's such a convenient myth to have for a VR world and the characters. So I was like, yeah, I like that. So they just go with that. Kirito helps him out, and eventually they kind of get to a point where he's brought into the city and given a place to stay for the night. So as Kirito's kind of going over everything in his mind as far as like, why doesn't everyone have any memories? Why has it been, I think, 6 years since Alice was taken away? None of this is making sense because for Kirito it was only like, I think like a day or two maybe, something like that. So he's kind of going over everything in his mind, and the only thing he can maybe come up with was something about maybe these people in this world are newborns that have had their souls, just translated into this world to live out their lives potentially, and then... those either newborns or people, whatever, once they're done living in this world, they're taken out and they just go on living their own lives without memory of it. So I don't know if that's true, but it's a pretty interesting idea. I mean, so I kind of want to know the mystery more of this world. So
yeah, so that's kind of the big plot for this. Like, what is this world about?
Yeah, it's unlike any other VR world that they've messed with before. There's no because these people that are in there they don't remember it anyway. So this is the first time I guess Kirito's had his memories while being in there. So
this is a just completely new experience. Like he's just kind of starting from scratch and just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Don't know the rules of the game or the world. There are basically their set of laws are taboo indexes. And if they go against the law, they create they commit a taboo index violation, which they kind of make different references to that because whenever Yu-Gi-Oh finishes his job and puts his axe up in a shed out in the woods, Kirito's like, hey, you gonna lock that door? And he's like, why would I lock it? No one steals. And I was like, oh,
okay.
All right then. No one violates these taboo indexes. So. So that's kind of where all that is right now, yeah.
So, tell me about Kirito and like, do you think his character in this season is different from previous seasons? Like, do you think he's evolved? Do you think he's changed at all?
I was kind of hoping that they would change his character a little bit, just because he always plays an OP character. I mean, that's and I get it. That's what we expect Kirito to be, is an OP character from the start. He's always somehow broken the rules of whatever game he's in, and he's been the only one with a certain sword skill or whatever. He always does something. But from the first episode, I thought, oh, we're gonna have Kirito just kind of actually, no memories of all these OP games in the past. We're just gonna see him for the first time explore a game, without these past memories. So I was
start out as a newbie,
as an actual newbie. Like, how would he, given his actual character, like his, human character, like how would he go forward with this? Not from that, like, oh well, I was a beta tester and I know how this all works. So
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, so that's actually how the first series was. He was a beta tester, so he knew. He was like, that's why no one really wanted to be with him, because he already had an edge anyway. So, gotcha. So in this one, I was kind of like, okay, he's kind of starting off where everyone else is, maybe even a little behind, since he don't know anything. But now, come this second episode, he's got all of his memories back, and when they go into the city, the guard stops him, and he's like, hey, what? He said, you don't remember anything. What do you think your calling was? Do you remember at least your calling, your job? And he's like, no, I can't really remember it. And as he's thinking about it, he's kind of going over his past experiences, and he's like, swordsman. I was a swordsman.
Of course.
And the guard kind of, laughs, and he's like, a puny little dude like you was a swordsman? So he's like, all right, come over here. I need to see this. So he hands him a sword and lines him up in front of a tree trunk, and like, well, show me what you can do, swordsman. So, Kirito gets a blade back in his hand. He gets the feel for it. He's swinging it around a little bit, and he's like, all right. And, of course, right off the bat, he activates a high-level sword skill, slices through the tree trunk like butter, and old school OP Kirito is back. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm fine with that. That's how the show always is. But I was wanting something maybe a little different, a little more character growth.
So
but
pretty much same.
Oh well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing we all like anyway about Kirito, is that he's a little OP and everyone relies on him to save the day. So still
sticking with it.
So it's still the same basically. The show almost fooled us.
Right.
Thinking we're haha, it's gonna be a different one this time, but no. He's the same. So,
but are you still playing?
I'm still fine with him. I've always liked the story of how he's OP. I mean, even in the movies where, you think that he's not going to be able to break this new VR world. Of course, he finds a way to break the rules, and he's OP again. So
that's pretty much the plot line. It's like, how can Kirito break the rules this time?
Yeah, how is he going to be so OP that he can solo everything because he don't like to be in parties? So,
right.
Okay. So yeah, that was my review for Sword Art, and so from there we're gonna turn and just go to Goblin Slayer episode 3,
episode 3.
So what all happened in this episode? What was your how did it start?
So yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was kind of a setting up episode, I guess you could say, because we get introduced to the 3 characters that we saw at the end, the after credits from the previous episode, which is the High Elf, the Lizard Man, and the Dwarf. And we see them. They, of course, at the end of the last episode, they caught wind of this adventurer, this Goblin Slayer, and so they're searching out for this Goblin Slayer, and they go to the guild where he usually goes to, and they're asking about the guy named Orc Blog, and I think Bread Cutter or Beard Cutter, I can't remember which one it was, but they're asking the lady at the desk, and she's just like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But sure enough, here comes the Goblin Slayer, just happens to walk in. He's like, hey, is there any Goblin quests open? And she's just like, well, apparently they are looking for somebody to help slay some goblins. So, and they're just like, well, who's this guy? And she's like, he's the Goblin Slayer that you're looking for. So there's just like, of course,
so they keep their names for him? Is that like they just keep?
Yeah, they keep calling Orc Blog and and so and they see him, and of course you've seen the last episode where people are just talking about Goblin Slayer, and they're just like, oh man, like he's a silver rank. I mean, look at his armor, look at his. Yeah. But it's interesting too because the dwarf automatically picks up and is like, oh, the elf. She looks at him. She pretty much says the same thing, like, oh. Look at you! You're filthy. Your armor is just like whatever. But the dwarf is like, well, look at him again. Look at his armor. He's got leather armor, which makes it easy to move around in. He's got chainmail underneath, which prevents the stabbing. And then he's got a small shield, small sword, very useful in tight, close quarters. And she's like, well, but he still smells. And which the Goblin Slayer's like, well, yeah, I've got to cover up the metal smell for the armor, because if the goblins smell that, they're going to automatically know I'm there. So again, showing more of how the Goblin Slayer knows his craft. So doing all this, they realize, yes, this is the real deal. This is the guy we're looking for. So they tell him, like, well, there's this demon lord who all the kingdoms, all the militaries are kind of focusing on right now, because he's threatening to take over the world. So pretty much the reason why all these adventurers are not really doing anything against the goblins. Now, the reason why the military
going after higher level stuff.
Yeah, they're going higher level stuff because there's just bigger threats out there. Whereas the Goblin Slayer, as I've said previous episodes, he focuses on the goblins because while they're all doing that, there's still goblins that are threatening villages and farms and stuff like that. Smaller encampments, and he's like, oh, who's going to protect them? So I'll protect them. So in any case, yeah, they tell him that this big threat's looming, and he's just like, well, I don't really care about that. Is this about goblins? That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, dude, seriously, yes, this is about goblins. We've got goblins that are invading the elven lands, so we need your help. And he's like, okay, cool. Do you got a map? And they're like, yeah, here you go. Okay, so how many goblins are there? Is there any goblin champions? And he's just kind of asking them random questions. You're just like, then of course they answer him. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. Just talk to the desk lady downstairs about a reward, and I'll be on my way. And they're like,
so he thought they were quest givers.
Yeah, he thought they were,
okay.
Which I guess they still kind of are, but they were just like, what, are you just doing this by yourself? And he's like, yeah, that's what I do. So, but of course they do join him, and the priestess joins them too, and they're all pretty much heading towards the Elven lands rather to combat some goblins. So
nice.
And yeah, it's gonna be an action-packed episode next episode.
I mean, action-packed. That was kind of one thing I was going to ask about was. So last episode we kind of seen him get creative with the priestess's new blessing, and quite a bit of orcs. Goblins died.
Right.
Was that a with all the introductions going on, was there a whole lot of goblin slaying this time?
It's not as much. It was towards the end. We saw them arrive at the elven ruins where these goblins are kind of hiding out at. And you mentioned him using the priestess's power, so kind of in a way, kind of a callous way of thinking of this, but he's basically got more tools at his disposal. With you've got this elf who's a sharpshooter, you've got this dwarf who we don't know what he does yet, or what the lizard man does yet. Of course, I know, but I don't want to spoil you guys, of course, But we do see a little bit of the elf and her sharpshooting skills, and and I kind of wish my characters had this in D&D, where she just kind of, shoots her one arrow and just kind of flies off, and then zips down and kills two goblins at once. Like, why can't my character do that, right?
Yeah, just control your arrows like that.
Right. Well, she was using the wind, actually, is what it was. But I mean, like, for me, I have to take like, two actual actions in D&D for me to kill two separate goblins. But in any case, she was able to do that and then kill the dog just like that. And then last thing we see, we're just marching up to these ruins. It's like, okay, here we go. So
nice.
Again, like I said, next episode should be action packed. Should see some.
So we got some good character development.
Right.
We're getting ready to jump into some pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, yeah. The action's coming up next episode. So if you were missing the goblin slaying for this last couple episodes, stick around, because next
they're about to turn it up.
Episode
11 almost.
Episode 4. Episode 4. We're gonna start seeing some goblin slaying and all that good stuff. So, and potential creative stuff with the other characters. So
nice. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yep. So that's pretty much it for this episode.
Yeah.
So thank you guys again, and stay tuned for our other videos.
So yeah, that's possibly the best anime I've ever seen.
The best.
Yeah, the best. You need to check it out.
Okay, you know what? I'll check it out right this second. Right now,
let's go watch it then.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go watch it, guys.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, hey. If you like this video, go down there and hit the like button.
And you know what? While you're there, there's a subscribe button and a notification button, so whenever we post a video, you guys will be notified.
Yeah, and even further below that's our comment section. So go down there, share your thoughts on this video, and let us know what you thought about it, and give us some feedback.
Yeah, but please just keep the spoilers to a minimum, please.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching.
We'll see you next time.